In the frozen dawn, the horizon trembles under a silver haze, an endless expanse of ice stretching beyond the mind's grasp. Among a sea of black and white forms, one penguin pauses. His head tilts, listening not to the roar of the wind, but to something quieter. A pulse beneath the ice, an ancient hum older than memory. Then, without reason or signal, he turns and begins walking south, away from the colony, away from life. The others call, but their cries fade into the shriek of the polar gust. Cameras track his movement, a lone silhouette crossing a canvas of blinding white. The scientists murmur through static-laced radios, torn between fascination and dread. Every step he takes deepens the mystery, not just of instinct, but of purpose. What drives a creature to abandon the rhythm that has guided its kind for millennia? No one can say, but the march has begun, and there is no turning back. By midday, the Antarctic light flattens, the horizon erased beneath a curtain of wind-driven ice. The colony's hum has faded into silence, replaced by the low static of radio chatter and the slow rhythm of boots against snow. The penguin moves with unwavering purpose, as if following a line invisible to all others. In the control tent, debate flickers, data against instinct, science against wonder. To follow means breaking protocol. To stay means watching mystery unfold from afar. The ice groans beneath the weight of something older than reason, as though the land itself resents intrusion. Somewhere in that endless white, the penguin continues, unburdened by questions the humans cannot stop asking. By the second hour, fatigue creeps into the team's silence. The penguin's movement seems almost deliberate, not lost but led. The GPS tracker on his back blinks faintly, a single pulse against oblivion. Lena watches the coordinates drift southward, her breath catching as numbers tumble past the sea's edge on the map. He's walking toward nothing, she whispers, but the nothing has gravity. Thomas steadies his lens, tracing the figure through shimmer and blur, a shadow swallowed by white. The Antarctic wind moans like a voice from beneath the ice, as though reminding them that not every question deserves an answer. Evening bleeds across the ice. The colony glows amber in the last breath of sun, while the penguin's path vanishes into shadow. Inside the tent, Lena scrolls through migration data, overlaying routes, past anomalies. Nothing explains this. Silas leans close, eyes narrowed, muttering about geomagnetic drift, hallucination, instinctual error. But beneath his logic, something trembles. Oh, the camera keeps rolling, capturing absence, a creature choosing exile with purpose unknown. Outside, wind carries a deep tone, like the earth sighing beneath the stars. The penguin's heartbeat, unseen but sensed, merges with the pulse of the planet itself. Night falls. A darkness so complete it swallows distance. The wind quiets, and for a moment, the ice holds its breath. The penguin stands still beneath the aurora's trembling veil, tiny against a cathedral of green fire. Somewhere far behind, cameras record their batteries fading. For all their instruments and metrics, the humans cannot comprehend what he sees. A sky alive with movement, a world that whispers only to those who walk alone. Perhaps this is not confusion but calling, not error, but instinct seeking its forgotten home. The march continues, silent, resolute, and utterly beyond reach. Morning breaks like glass, sharp, blue, and cold enough to cut through breath. The decision is made without words. A small team readies the sleds, cameras, and thermal gear, chasing a single penguin across 70 miles of ice. The engines roar to life, muffled by snow. Lena feels it. The quiet guilt of pursuit. They're crossing into the interior now, where no penguin goes, where nothing moves but wind. Every mile deepens the unease. The air grows thin, and even the compass seems reluctant to spin. Through her viewfinder, she catches a faint black shape in the distance. Steady, determined, untouchable. It's no longer just observation. It's pilgrimage. Hours bleed into each other. The monotony of snow and sky plays tricks on the mind. The penguin's tracks zigzag between ridges, yet his pace never falters. Silas mutters coordinates while Lena reads out wind speeds. Their voices feel too human for this place. Tomas films in silence, camera trembling against the gale. The journey becomes an act of endurance, each breath crystallizing midair. Somewhere between observation and reverence, they begin to understand this isn't about data anymore. This is about the will to continue when every direction looks the same. Midday brings a whiteout so complete that even thought feels erased. The sled halts. Instruments fail. The GPS flickers, then dies. Lena steps out into the storm, her figure vanishing within seconds. She listens, nothing but the howl of frozen wind. Then, faintly, she hears it. A low, rhythmic croak, almost a heartbeat echoing through ice. The penguin. Against protocol, against reason, she begins to walk. The snow stings like needles, but she keeps her eyes fixed on the direction of that sound. In this chaos, logic dissolves. Only instinct remains. When the blizzard finally breaks, silence falls like revelation. The team stands at the edge of a fissure, a black scar splitting the world in two. On the far side, the penguin continues, stepping over the crevasse as if gravity were a myth. Lena's hand tightens on Silas' arm. Tomas keeps rolling, breath shaking. They can't cross. The gulf between them is more than ice. It's the line between witness and participant, between science and faith. Across the divide, the penguin pauses, looks back once and continues walking. That night, inside the tent, silence presses heavier than the storm. The footage replays on a flickering monitor. The penguin's black form crossing the fissure. The moment it glanced back, it feels like a message, though none can say from whom. Silas breaks the quiet first. He's choosing it. He murmurs, half in awe, half in fear. Outside, the wind rises again, carrying with it the low groan of the shifting ice. The team listens. For the first time, they stop recording. Sometimes the act of watching feels like betrayal. The next morning dawns in silence so vast it hums. The storm has passed, leaving behind a landscape redefined. Drifts like dunes, fissures sealed by wind. The penguin is gone. Only a trail of faint depressions leads into the white horizon. Lena kneels beside them, fingertips brushing the ice, feeling a pulse that isn't hers. They've lost visual contact, GPS, radio, all ties to their world. For the first time, the mission feels personal, irrational. Tomas records the emptiness, capturing not the creature, but the aftermath of its passage. Silas stands still, eyes unfocused, as if waiting for the land to speak. Around them, the ice whispers, not absence, but presence stretched thin. The penguin walks somewhere beyond knowing, and the team must decide whether to follow into that nothingness or let the story end in silence. By midday, the air grows dense with cold, a silence that crushes thought. The GPS lies dead. Time itself feels fractured. The team marches on, following intuition rather than direction. Lena's breath comes in ragged bursts, each step an act of faith. The horizon shifts with every blink, playing tricks of mirage and movement. Then through the glare she thinks she sees it. A lone figure. Impossibly far, shimmering like heat above ice. When she looks again, it's gone. Some truths, she realizes, exist only for a moment, long enough to change what follows. As night falls, they reach the edge of an ice valley, a place untouched even by wind. The temperature plummets. Batteries freeze. The camera hums weakly, light pulsing like a dying heart. They build a small camp among the ridges, the fire hissing uselessly in the cold. Silas speaks softly of migration, of magnetic drift, of instincts that defy mapping. Lena listens but no longer hears the science, only the tone beneath it like confession. Outside, the aurora ripples again, its colors painting the valley in unearthly light. Somewhere beneath that shimmering sky, a lone penguin sleeps, or doesn't. The following day brings mirage upon mirage. The ice folds into shapes that mimic movement, waves, wings, figures. The mind, deprived of contrast, invents company. Lena records audio instead of video now. The sound of wind, breath, the faint groan of ice beneath her boots. "We are not alone," she murmurs into the recorder, though she means something deeper. Not presence, but resonance. Nature isn't empty, it echoes. And somewhere within that echo, she feels the penguin's rhythm still marching. By the end of the third day, the horizon breaks open. The valley spills into a vast plateau, an ocean of frozen nothingness. In the center, a single black speck moves slowly, rhythmically. Against all odds, he's still walking. The team stands at the threshold, too distant to intervene, too mesmerized to look away. Tomas lowers his camera. "He's going home," he whispers. No one answers. For a moment, the wind dies completely. The world holds its breath as life, stubborn and small, continues its impossible pilgrimage through infinity. By dawn, the wind has shifted. A subtle electric hum threading through the silence, the team descends into the plateau, guided by faint tracks that cut through snow like a heartbeat, carved in white. Lena kneels, brushing the frost away from the path. Beneath the surface, he finds fragments of shell, tiny ovals the color of bone, not stones, not debris. Eggshells, fragile remnants embedded deep within the ice, thousands of years old. Silas stares, speechless. A nesting ground. Here, 70 miles inland, where no penguin should have ever nested. The revelation feels impossible, yet the evidence glows in the pale light. Undeniable. What if this penguin isn't lost at all? But remembering, Silas unrolls the old geological maps, his gloved fingers trembling. The markings from an early expedition, terrain once mistaken for seabed, now entombed under centuries of ice. These weren't anomalies, he mutters, tracing lines that converge exactly where the penguin walks. A memory frozen into earth. Lena's eyes glisten, not from cold, but from wonder. The past and present collapse into one, a creature tracing the ghost of its ancestors' path. Evolution, it seems, remembers more than anyone dared imagine. They venture farther south, tracing the penguin's steps across ground layered with the past. Strange patterns emerge. Fossilized algae under clear ice, mineral seams glinting like veins of light. The terrain feels alive, remembering what the sea once was. Lena runs her hand over a ridge where ice meets stone, the contact sending a vibration through her bones. Nature isn't static, she realizes. It keeps rewriting its own memory. In the distance, a small dark form pauses. The penguin, framed against the sun, as if waiting for them to understand. At camp, under a violet dusk, Tomas replays the footage, overlapping images of the penguin's trail and Silas's maps. The paths align perfectly, a corridor through time, invisible until now. "He's following memory," Lena whispers. Silas nods, his face softening with something like faith. The camera lingers on their expressions, exhaustion, wonder, disbelief. As the ice outside glows under the dim shimmer of aurora, science, faith, and instinct converge in the same fragile space, bound by the will of one silent traveler. The next morning, the penguin halts at the edge of an ice shelf, wind swirling around him like ghosts. The researchers stand yards away, breathless, as he looks down. A sheer drop revealing dark, ancient water below. He calls out, a single cry torn from his chest and swallowed by the wind. Lena feels her throat tighten. It isn't a sound of loss, but of arrival. A song from another age, carried across centuries of ice. Somewhere deep below, the past still breathes. The world groans before it breaks. Beneath their feet, the ice rumbles, deep, tectonic, alive. The shelf shifts like a creature waking from centuries of sleep. The penguin stands at its edge, wings slightly spread as if sensing what's to come. Lena calls out, her voice shredded by wind, but the sound dies before it reaches him. The fissure widens with a sound like thunder buried underwater. Cameras roll. Data streams. The landscape rearranges itself. Ancient ice surrendering to time. And still the penguin does not move. He faces the chasm, unmoved by chaos, as though the breaking of the world is simply another form of migration. The fracture becomes a canyon. Equipment tumbles. Cables snap. Tomas grabs the camera as the sled skids toward the edge. Lena lunges to anchor the rope line, frost burning through her gloves. In that chaos, Silas' voice cuts through, forget the footage. But Tomas keeps rolling, framing the penguin against the widening crack. Black life framed by dying white. The world around them collapses in silence, broken only by the scream of wind. Above all, one sound remains. The soft rhythm of flippers, brushing snow, steady, defiant, eternal. Then, without warning, the penguin leaps. A small black arc cutting through blinding light. Graceful, impossible, inevitable. He lands on a lower ledge, disappears into shadow. For a heartbeat, no one moves. The team stares into the abyss, cameras still, breath held. Lena peers over the edge and sees a faint glow below. A pool of meltwater reflecting light from deep beneath the ice. A doorway to another world carved by time and pressure. He's gone where the ocean used to be, she whispers, voice trembling between fear and reverence. Silas insists on descending. We can't end it here. Against every regulation, they rig a rope system, lowering Tomas with his camera first. The light fades to blue twilight as he reaches the lower ledge. The walls shimmer with trapped bubbles and veins of ancient air. Below, dark water breathes slowly, shifting with the rhythm of the planet. The penguin is there, still, calm, standing before the liquid mirror as though remembering a world that once thrived beneath this frozen tomb. It's not madness. It's memory made flesh. Hours pass. The temperature drops. Ice cracks echo like distant gunfire. They can't stay. The structure is failing. Silas orders retreat, but Lena lingers at the ledge, eyes fixed on the penguin's shape below. He doesn't move, yet something shifts. An understanding, silent and immense. Some stories aren't meant to be saved, only witnessed. As they ascend, the rope trembling under their weight, the glacier groans once more, and the opening seals behind them. The penguin vanishes into the dark, where time itself seems to rest. The wind dies with dawn. The horizon returns, flat, endless, unbroken. The team rides in silence back toward base, their engines humming like a dirge. No one speaks of the fissure or what was left behind. The footage plays over and over in their minds. The leap, the light, the quiet that followed. Lena keeps her eyes on the compass, though its needle trembles, as if confused by what it sees. For the first time, science offers no comfort. Every explanation feels too small. Somewhere behind them, sealed in ice, a single penguin stands as proof that instinct remembers what reason forgets. The world's first and oldest map. At base camp, warmth feels foreign. The air hums with machinery and generator noise. The sounds of human certainty trying to reassert itself. Silas sits before the monitors, scrubbing through the footage frame by frame. The leap, the descent, The glow. Nothing before or after explains it. Lena watches from the doorway, her reflection trembling in the screen. "It wasn't random," she murmurs. Silas nods, his eyes fixed on data streaming across the display. Temperature drops, geomagnetic fluctuations, seismic echoes. All signs converge on one impossible truth. Something beneath the ice is alive and it remembers. Thomas develops the final reel in darkness. The room smells of chemicals and salt, and the hum of old film equipment replaces the wind. As frames emerge, a new image flickers. One, the digital feed, missed. The penguin standing before the ice pool, wings raised, and behind him, faint outlines carved in frost, circular and deliberate, like an ancient pattern drawn by movement itself. Not coincidence, but ritual. Every frame feels like a confession, the earth revealing something long held in silence. Tomas exhales, a trembling breath of awe and fear. They gather in the communications room. The satellite link flickers, the hum of transmission weaving through silence. Lena reads from her notes, data sets, temperature logs, footage coordinates. Her voice steady, but hollow. "He walked 70 miles against instinct," she says, "and found the past buried beneath us." No one replies outside. The wind begins again, low and resonant, like an echo of that single cry across the ice. They realize then that the penguin's journey wasn't a mistake. It was remembrance, a message carried through generations, through blood and magnetism and time. That night, Lena steps outside alone. The storm has passed, leaving the air crystalline, the stars fierce and unblinking. She closes her eyes and listens. Somewhere beneath her boots, the ice murmurs. Faint vibrations, steady and rhythmic, like flippers brushing snow. The same sound she heard the night before the storm. Softer now, deeper, eternal. She smiles. Not in joy, but understanding. Some journeys are not meant to reach a destination. They exist to remind the living that memory runs deeper than time. The wind carries the sound away, toward the horizon where a single dark speck once walked against the world. Weeks later, the Antarctic light returns, longer, warmer, as if the sun itself has been reborn. The research camp stands empty now, its tracks half buried by drifting snow. In the archive room, a final reel hums, quietly, playing itself to no audience. Images flicker, the penguin walking, the fracture, the glow beneath the ice. The film crackles, catches, burns through, and dies in white. Somewhere, in that void of sound and motion lies the essence of all stories that nature tells. Endings that are not endings. Silence that still speaks. What they witnessed wasn't tragedy or triumph. It was the world remembering itself. In a distant lecture hall, months later, Lena stands before a projection of endless white. Her voice is softer now, not as a scientist, but as a witness. Instinct is not just survival, she says. It's memory carried forward. The footage plays behind her. The penguins march through wind and silence. Students watch, spellbound, unaware of the ache beneath her calm. Every frame, every sound of wind feels like a heartbeat preserved in ice. The audience applauds, but Lena doesn't smile. Her eyes drift upward, past the image, towards something unseen. The place where memory dissolves into meaning. Tomas releases the documentary. It spreads quietly. No narration, no score, just the sound of wind and the slow rhythm of footsteps. Critics call it haunting, minimalist, transcendent, but he doesn't read the review. Late one night, he replays the final shot. The penguin framed against the collapsing ice, then fading to white. He realizes it isn't about understanding. It's about reverence. The world doesn't owe explanations. It only offers moments of truth before reclaiming them again. He closes the monitor, and the room fills with the faint sound of snow against glass. Silas returns to the ice one last time, older now, slower, but restless. The colony stands as it did before, a chorus of movement and sound. He finds no trace of 1179, only thousands of identical forms merging with snow and sea. Yet something in the air feels changed. The wind moves differently. The light lingers longer. Standing there, he realizes the story was never about one penguin. It was about everything that moves without knowing why, the current beneath all life. He sets down his recorder, lets it capture nothing but the breath of the wind, and walks away. In the end, the camera finds only horizon. No penguin, no humans, just the sound of air moving across ice. A distant crack echoes like a heartbeat, then fades. The screen turns to white, then black. And over that silence, a single line appears. Some journeys are not mistakes. They are memories remembering themselves. For a moment, the world holds its breath, and then, softly, lets it go.